welcome to another edition of Big Boy Battles. Today we have an excellent game. The civilized Dynasties, Undying as they are, versus the Hordes, filthy and devious, the Beast Herds. Civilization against the wilderness today. It's Christmas Eve here, and we decided to get a game in and try our luck. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it is bloody. It is swingy. There's two moments. One where I was sure I won the game, and one where I was sure I was going to lose the game, and it still ended up being just a down to the wire type of thing. And my opponent's just. This is only his third game since our GT in Colorado, so he hasn't played as much as I have since then. But he's a guy that took Best General too, so bear that in mind. So he's a really good player. So I always have to be on my toes, and he really punishes me for my mistakes. All in all, it's just an excellent game. And well, hey. Why not just watch it instead of having me tell you how awesome it is, right? So here we go. Deployment. We rolled for deployment. We got diagonal deployment, and we decided to use the capture the standards, capture the flags scenario. And the goal there is to capture 3 of the enemy's scoring units. By capture, we of course mean kill, because what would we do with a bunch of hairy beastmen anyway? We don't need those guys. So I decided to choose his Longhorn unit, his Wildhorn unit, the ones that are on the board, and then one of the ambushing unit he has come on. Let me go through his list first real quick. He has 2 groups of centaurs, 2 groups of gargoyles, chaff just coming along there. He has 2 small ambushing units of Wildhorns, and they're dangerous. I know from experience, just because they can get in your black line and they could do a lot of damage, and I just didn't want that to happen, so I deployed accordingly. He has 2 Gortoks, which are scary. Level 4 Shamanism Wizard. It's not a Master Wizard, though. It's just a Wizard Apprentice, I guess you call him. He has a very large group of Wildhorns, I think 36 wide or something, and then 36 Longhorns with a general and a BSB, and they're armed with great weapons, and they're scary. Me, I have 2 catapults because of the points decrease, and because, well, I'm not bringing kitties, as you can see, and I wanted to try out different lists without them to see what I could make work, what I could fit in, and not have to rely on them so much. Because I do, as an Undying Dynasties player, I really use my kitties as my anchor point, where I can use them to kind of control the battlefield a lot. And they do a great job, but like I said, I wanted to see what I could do without them. And so it allowed me to take some things that you normally wouldn't. I have 2 groups of my standard core, 2 groups of 20 archers, some skeletal scouts back there. They're in the way for his ambushing unit, so he can't deploy them back behind me. I set that up intentionally. I have 2 groups of chariots, both with standards, but I did not give them scoring. They are both light troops because I need that ability to wheel, ability to just go where I need them to go. I have 3 Tomb Reapers, as you can see on the far right of the screen. 8 Shabti with paired weapons, and along with them I have attached a Harbinger on an Amut, and he's got a Bluffer's Helm, and he's got a Sword of Strength. So he's not messing around, and he's given the unit Hatred, which is going to be it. It's just awesome. And I've been reading on the forums that a lot of people are using this kind of block of Shabti, and I've never tried it. I've always run a smaller group of Shabti just so I could fit in more points elsewhere. But I wanted to see how this would do. And so we will see how this does. I have 2 groups of vultures. Excellent chaff. And right in front of that house, you can see 24 Necroguard with a Harbinger inside. Now, Necroguard have full command, and I have my Harbinger just ready to rock out. And I brought a War Standard on them, just so I could have the ranks, and I could have the paired weapons on them, so they have lethal, poison strikes. And yeah, they'll die if they get hit, but with combined with the initiative and just the toughness 4, I'm feeling they could do pretty good against most of what I'm facing here. Just use them defensively, use them as a deterrent, and that's what I plan to do. I have a architect in the group of archers by the Amut in the Shabti. And I also have my Hierophant hiding in the back. He has a Crown of Scorn on him. I'm not going to cast a single spell this game. Not a bound spell, not anything. And so we'll see how that goes. I drop first, and I kind of know how I want to set up, so I just set up everything. Well, we go back and forth with our stuff a little bit, but in the end, this is what I come up with. And so I move out my chariots just so I can get some angles and some shots in there. And I make a mistake because I forgot he can deploy. If he goes second, he can get his ambushers on the first turn. So what I should have done is not moved my group of chariots up so far so I could keep them. So he'd have to deploy in front of my chariots, but it didn't work out, and I forgot. Is what I did. I forgot. I thought I had another turn, and I had a free turn of shooting or 2. You'll notice one of his gargoyle units isn't on the board. I shoot like 2 of them with my chariots to death, and they fail their break test, and they run behind the house. It's where they go. Other than that, not really much movement. I do shoot off my catapults, and boy, do these things rock. Direct hit on the Longhorns, doing 8 wounds. He passes his panic check, but still, that's a good start to this game. A very good start to this game. The other catapult misses, and so we go to bottom of 1. And as you can see, I pay for my mistake with those ambushers. He comes up right in front of my Hierophant block, and I'm like, shit! Because I don't know what I'm gonna have to do something with him now, but I'm just not sure what. I just watch him bring his chaff up, bring his chaff to the side there behind the forest, and he kind of shuffles forward a little bit. His other group of ambushers comes up by the Winged Reapers, and I'm thinking, okay, my Winged Reapers will probably do some damage there. I can jump in, hopefully break the unit turn 1, and see how that goes. But he casts some spells, and he gets the +1 toughness spell, and he gets one of his bound spells off. That gives them distracting and innate defense. And so I know I won't be charging that next turn. So that goes off without a hitch. We go to top 2. Well, my Winged Reapers do charge, but they fail. They needed a 6, they got a 4. And so they shuffle forward and way out of place. And so my vultures to the rescue. I use them to chaff up some things. I know the Gortok's got a shot into the flank there, but I figure even if he overruns, he won't. He'll get into the Tomb Reapers, but Tomb Reapers are higher initiative, strength 5. I think I could take a Gortok out. I'm not too scared about that. I am scared about those ambushers down by my Hierophant, so I back the frick up with my skeletal archers, and I throw my my light troop skeletal scouts in there to be a chaff. And I do this wrong too. I make another mistake here, and I'm going to pay for it. I don't angle it correctly. And if I had angled it correctly, a lot of pain and heartache could have been solved. But I did put my archer group. One of them goes forward, and in an attempt to get in range and shoot some more of his chaff, which I do, and send them running, and they run almost off the board, so that's great. And the gargoyles is what I shoot at, and the other group just goes because I know he's going to charge the skeletal scouts, get a flank, and I realize during shooting, I realized, oh no, he's going to get, if he overruns at all, he's going to get into my skeletal archers. But at least I'll have these chariots to kind of ram him in the rear end and do some damage and hopefully break him, and I could turn around and stop anything else from coming in and save that flank. That's what I need to happen here. My Shopties stay put. They don't have any desire to run into those Longhorns at this point, and I'm just going to pepper them away with my catapults. Okay, and yeah, I forgot to get a picture of his bottom of 2, but I did get a picture of the charges. So his Gortok comes in on my vultures, and this is what that looks like. His other gargoyles, surprisingly, I didn't expect this, charged my other vultures, so I'm interested to see how that will go. And unfortunately, he makes a long-ass charge, I think it's 9 inches, gets into the flank of my chariots, and that's not good. So, and of course he makes this charge as well. Shooting had gotten down almost to a whole rank of them, so that's great, but other than that, it's not good. You can see the angle right there. He's just going to run into my archers, get the charge, and it's going to be bad. Okay, so this battle doesn't go as bad as I thought it would. I don't think he does a wound. I do one to him. Well, no, he does a wound. I end up losing by 2. And there we sit. His Gortok charges in or overruns and ends up right where you see him. So I'm not too scared about that. And yeah, he just obliterates my vultures and runs, because my vultures can't hit this guy to save their lives, and runs into the Shopti. And I'm like, okay, the Shopti are just going to delete them. But it does prevent me from charging. It does prevent me from doing any movement, so they're kind of stuck there. Top of 3, this is what it looks like. I charge in with my chariots, as you can see. And yeah, my Necroguard kind of shuffle to kind of get a flank charge, hopefully, off on those Longhorns. And trying to keep the wild horns away and threaten the other Gortok. Because I'm not too scared of the Gortok charging into my Necroguard, simply because they have poison, a lot of attacks, and I feel I can do a lot of damage before. With the ranks and stuff, I don't think he can do enough damage to stop from losing that combat and possibly breaking. Okay, there's a better picture of that charge, and I'm hoping that goes well. And the catapults! During my magic phase, I don't do anything. And the catapults do their work, man. Unfortunately, he passes both his break tests, but I just knock chunks out of these guys. It's not even close. Okay, and my archers do some work and put 3 wounds on Mr. Gortok, so that is awesome. Yeah, those 4 centaurs just eat my chariots. He does not flub his rolls this time, and yeah. Mr. Gortok does 3 wounds to me, but not before I do 5 to him. So he loses combat by 1, but he sticks. I had put regen on my Tomb Reapers because I knew it was going to be an important battle. I didn't want to lose any if I could help it. This is not good. My chariots literally bounce off these guys. I think I roll 4 or 5 for impact hits, and I don't do a single wound. It is ridiculous. My archers perform admirably after they get their butts chewed and kill a few, but it's not enough. It's not enough. I crumble to here, and this is how it looks at the end. Bottom of 3. It is what it is. He charges in with his Longhorns into help his Gortok buddy out, and so, okay, I'm hoping I can make a lot of regen saves. Let's say that. um, he uses his other Gortok to chaff my Necroguard to keep them from getting a flank charge into his Longhorns if my Winged Reapers can hold out. And he just kind of maneuvers otherwise. He brings those wild horns up onto the hill so he can get some throwing weapons in on there. He brings his rallied chaff, starts to come in and is going to try to do some things. And he charges into the back of my chariots that are in the back of his wild horns. And it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. This goes about as you'd expect. There's a better picture of that charge. And yeah, so he eats everything. After crumbles, I do a few wounds, like 2 or 3. And after crumbles, my Hierophant's sitting there with a wound. Yeah. This goes a lot better. I kill a few. I do end up crumbling down to what you see here, a Winged Reaper with 1 wound left. And he reforms and he shifts, so I can't get very much of my Shabti in at all. During his magic, he did get distracting on these guys as well. And to make matters worse, he got Break the Spirit off on my Shabti. So, yeah. But my Shabti need to go in anyway. I don't care. I charge. My Necroguard, of course, charged Gortok. I can do 3 wounds. I'm not scared. And I'm hoping, against hope, I can just... I need to do... Those Longhorns, they're there. I'm hoping I can break the Gortok. I know I'm going to be crumbling soon, so this is how I do. So there's a better picture of that charge and that charge. And yeah, this goes really well. I don't take a single wound. I eat the Gortok and I reposition. This is where I sit at the end of that. By Shabti. Oh my goodness. Okay, so with Break the Spirit and Distracting, I need 6s to hit. But no worries. I roll out of the box. I challenge his general. I do 2 wounds to his general with my Harbinger. I don't take a single wound in return. Through all of this, well, my Winged Reaper died. That's unfortunate. But I make regen saves like nobody's business, and I just break that unit. He runs, and I catch him. and yeah, it was excellent. I was very happy. He has no more general, no more BSB. He's going to be taking his leadership tests on really low leadership, so I am excited for what's about to happen. Not so excited about what happens here, though. He easily kills my Hierophant, and the crumbles begin. Luckily, not too much crumbles the first round. Couple wounds on my bottom catapult there, and I lose a couple Necroguard. Other than that, they're fine. But he does able to charge aside of my other block of skeletons. And he triple charges my Necroguard, and that's scary. And it's not looking good for the home team, guys. It's not. And he passes his March test, unfortunately, so I can't get into those guys, which I wanted to eat the scoring unit, to at least tie on objectives. But it was not to be. So, yeah. There's a better picture of that charge. This charge goes about as well as you'd expect. After crumbles, this is where we sit. Yeah. And I kill... He doesn't take his models off, but I kill like 12, the back 2 ranks, I think, of the Wildhorns. And I put a wound on his caster, and I kill 3 Centaurs, but he just eats me. And so this is where we sit at the end of that. And I crumble and I die. The rest of the game is spent with me crumbling and running away, and he kills those catapults easily. So the only thing I have left at the end of the game is my block of Shabti, and he has what you see there. He won by about 600 points, I want to say. No, more than that, like a good amount of points. And he also won the objective. So when all is said and done, it's a Beast Herds victory, 16-4. Yeah, it was an excellent game. I thought when I killed his general in BSB that I was going to be able to power through it and power through those Hierophant crumbles, but man, I needed my chariots to perform, and they just did not. I thought, I'd get at least 6 or 7 wounds off, with the impact hits, and be able to make up enough, because I knew he wouldn't kill my unit right off. There's 20 of them. There's a lot to get through, you know what I mean? And I was hoping I could keep the wounds to minimum, and, well, regardless, it didn't happen. And my opponent played a great game. He has a new respect for catapults, though. He just shaking his head every time I'd hit with those things. And to be fair, they're pretty dang awesome. So, some final thoughts. Okay, those Necroguard, you know what? They weren't bad, but for the Harbinger and the Necroguard points, I could almost get both of those kitties back in the list. I'd have to make a couple adjustments here and there otherwise. But the kitties are just scarier, and they would have handled the triple charge a lot easier. And also, there's 2 of them, so they're more mobile. They can split if they need to, and they can do a lot of things that a single block of slow Necroguard just cannot do. So the kitties are going back in the list. The Jack Pickaxe, if it comes, it comes. I'll have to avoid it or something. Necroguard are nice, but they're just not mobile enough for what I need them to do. And this was a game where they didn't have to be very mobile at all. In fact, this was a perfect scenario for them, where they just sat back, guarded the catapults basically, and sat right in front of the center of my line and said, get in my charge range, watch what happens. But again, I wasn't able to use them properly. They did okay. Catapults are awesome against rank and file. My chariots, not only do I need to stop them getting caught out, which they get caught out almost every single time I play with them, I forget that they can be charged from a long ways, and my opponent seemed to have a great way of just getting into them, and magic is still just not good. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later.